So I'm gonna have to make sure I mute everything.
So it should be live. It's not.
Did you mute the chat?
I muted.
Oh.
Can you hear me or something?
No, but your thing. Oh, right. It goes into your ear. Yeah, but you still should.
Oh, there it is. Oh, wait, there's an ad. Okay, there it is. Whoa, yeah, it's live.
Hello.
Okay, let's ask if the audio's working. Is the audio working good? Well, or whatever. Character animations. What? Oh, okay. So, can you guys hear us? Okay, cool. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Sycra. Sycra is an awesome artist, and he has an awesome channel and great stuff on there. And do you want to say something?
Yes, my channel is called Ahmed Aldoori.
That's funny. He's a funny guy. Oh wait, let's go to his screen. Okay, so that's his screen. All right. And we have the chat person moderating the chat. That is Flavia, his wonderful wife. And we're going to draw some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna try. I'm gonna try.
We were just talking about work life, commutes, and drawing pretty girls, right? That's the plan.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna switch to screen share.
Oh, they can barely hear me.
Oh.
I don't know why that would be. Do you have like audio settings?
Let me check. Sycra. I can only mute you, which I don't want to do.
On the side, there's a thing called, you know where you screen share? Just underneath, there's a thing
Oh,
called
control room.
Yeah.
All right, I turned you all the way up.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear you better now.
Oh, yeah. I got better. Can you hear me more now? I mean, it's not a bad thing if you can't.
It is a bad thing. What are you talking about?
I can always be the voice in your head.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, let's. I'm just gonna share my screen and start drawing. Yeah, we're gonna draw some stuff, guys, and yeah, they're saying that they can hear you better now.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's like a cascade of images of myself. All right. Wait. I wish somebody else could control the which screen's being shown. Okay, I'm just gonna start drawing. If you have anything you want to talk about, we can do that, and then just keep going. How do you like start if you're gonna draw something live? Do you just kind of
you panic, and then what I do is I just start moving my pencil and making marks, and then hoping for the best.
Okay, well I'm scribbling now, so I guess this is how you do it. No, it really is daunting, like knowing people are watching and you just gotta like you can do some drawings, and I don't know, I think what I'm doing is pretty cool. Okay, let's
You're doing girls though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Bear with us, for we are. To those of you in the stream, this is my first time kind of streaming, so I'm just kind of getting used to how to do things, and if it's not the best, then deal with it. Yeah, so whenever I start drawing girls, it's like or dudes or people in general, I'm like, let's just start with the eyes, like just kind of let it happen that way. Yeah, and I guess before we started, you mentioned that you uh, aren't good at drawing while talking. I'm totally there with you.
Really? That's good.
Yeah, it's just like because in order to be access your full creativity, you got to be in the zone, right? Is that how you feel?
Yeah, I just feel like I'm using a completely different part of my brain when I talk. I mean, like even right now. See, I try and find the words, but because I'm drawing, it's like half my brain is elsewhere.
Right.
Well, usually half my brain is elsewhere anyway, so the other half is now elsewhere.
Okay. Well, I guess my go-to, if you flip through my sketchbooks ever, you'll just see tons of elf girls, pointy ears.
Alright, I can do an elf girl.
Dude, elf girl time.
Let's do elf girls. I mean, like do them as in draw them.
Dude, I wish they were real. I mean, if you go to like Comic-Con or some kind of cosplay place, it's like they're everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And they're getting so good, these cosplay things.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, are they outsourcing like the things that, like a giant sword? Like, you made that? Cool.
I
Like,
think you
whoa,
buy it. I think a lot of them are buying them.
really?
There's many of them who just showcase other people's like craftsmen's armor and stuff. Like,
Oh, okay, cool.
you're a guy and you're doing armor, and you get a girl to wear it for you.
Oh,
Well, that's kind of like the DeviantArt photography thing, where you
right.
get like, models, but it's not. It's like the photographer's thing or the model's thing.
I guess.
Dude, the DeviantArt cosplay stuff, it's a great reference.
Mm-hmm.
I can see people at work like referencing that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense because before we'd have to look up like medieval armor and then superimpose it on top of like people, but now it's done.
Yeah, and it's like stylized in a way, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, I guess every like minute or so I'll switch between our screens. Not minute, every like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Again,
Alright.
thanks for joining me on this live stream. You rock.
It's my pleasure. Do we have any questions from anybody yet?
They're all fawning over Ahmed's eyes.
What?
Yeah.
I have eyes too, but they're not as nice, but I have them. Do you wear glasses, Ahmed?
I will probably soon have to wear glasses. I mean, I stare at pixels all day. So it's ruining my eyes. But no, not yet. Everyone in my family does, but they got laser surgery for it.
So, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Do they mean the eyes that I'm? Yeah, I am drawing eyes. That's probably what they're talking about.
No. The eyes that you're wearing, not the ones that you're drawing. I don't think they saw those yet.
Ay, ay, ay. Dios mío. So, how many languages do you guys speak?
Flavia speaks a lot.
Yeah.
Well, understand a lot.
I don't really speak the ones I understand because I'm really nervous about it.
Oh, okay. That's how I feel.
How about you? How many languages do you speak?
I grew up speaking Arabic with my mom, and then English with my dad, because he's half white, half Iraqi, half white. And then I learned Spanish in high school and continued with that. So I have like conversational Spanish. I can't really like give a speech, in Spanish, but I can be like, "Yo, where's the bathroom? What about the library?" Like basic Spanish.
Oh, here's a question. What do you do right after high school if you don't want to go to college but want to make a career out of art?
Huh. Videos. Watch Sycra's videos. Um, if you're about to graduate high school. So for me, it took me a while to realize what I wanted to do, because I ended up going to engineering school for a semester for computer engineering, and I was miserable and awful. I would skip class and go home and draw. So I knew I wanted to draw. I just didn't know that there was like a career that you can make out of it. Um, I don't know, like network, get to know people, get good at art. Obviously, keep drawing every day and have fun with it. Make sure you're enjoying it. Otherwise, it becomes a chore. But I don't know. What do you think, Sycra?
What was the question?
If you're about to graduate high school and you want to do art but you don't want to go to college, is there any advice that we could have offer?
You should draw a lot.
Yes, yes. Make a YouTube channel. I've learned so much from just people on YouTube that I wouldn't have otherwise.
And I think joining communities, like any kind of art community.
Yes. For some reason, when I switch to your screen, it's like black for a minute or a couple seconds, and then there it is. Oh, look at that elf girl! Yeah, I didn't get to see yours yet. Oh, maybe I should have it like what you're doing, minimized like this.
So another question. I've been working on designing a character. I like the design, but I'm having problems with the color since it's not a two-color scheme. Do you have any tips for choosing colors?
Yeah, steal them. A lot of the color palettes that I have, let's see if I could just go back to my screen for a second. So I have this folder on my computer, which you could also use Pinterest for, of just a bunch of images that I feel have a great color palette, right? And sometimes I don't go to this, sometimes I do. I actually used to have it arranged by color, so it was like purple, green, red, and it's like I'm like, oh, okay, this looks cool. Let's just steal the color palette from that, right? There's a great book about this whole idea of stealing art or color or whatever. It's called Steal Like an Artist, and the basic idea is, nothing is really original. Something always originates from somewhere. So I don't like to put a lot of pressure on, I got to find the perfect color palette. It's like it's already out there somewhere. And what ends up happening is I end up changing it all anyway. But as long as there's a starting point that's inspired by something somewhere, you got a head start, right? So I don't know if Sycra has a similar response, but
Yeah, I haven't actually done that. It's something I do is just look for like. I tend to stick in families. Like, if you're at, let's say you start with yellow. Well, what's yellow close to? It's close to green. It's close to orange. It's close to like reds and blues. So I tend to stick around what's nearby and then throw in a bit of what's opposite. If that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, like
So
as a compliment.
Nearby and then a little bit of distant.
Sure, yeah. And so at art school they try and drill all this content about color wheel, color theory, Munsell chart, and that's all good and all, but really you learn the most if you just put the mileage in, and like Sycra, I'm sure you figured all that out by just doing it, right? You pick color, you figure out what's nearby.
Yeah.
No one sat there and held your hand and be like, oh, you got to do this and that, and no, you just kind of, yeah.
I mean, I did read those books on like what do you call it, like color schemes and I forget. They have names like triadic, split complementary, and all this. But in the end, it's really just looking at it and you develop like this sixth sense where you can kind of tell like, okay, I've got these colors down. I think this color is going to work. Just because you've done it a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How many years did it take you guys to get into the industry after university or so?
Well, okay.
Well, you're in the industry. I'm not even in the industry right now.
You've designed your own industry. That's how. My hat's off to you, man. So when okay, well, my first year at art school, I would, um, like during the first break, the summer break, I started working because of who I knew, like connections, and it was for Scott Robertson. And if you're familiar with the drawing DVDs and the books, the DSP books, I was working with him at his studio for. It was a very short, like tiny, like less than a month gig, but from that I got another job with Dylan Cole, who is what's his name? He's the lead art director right now for Avatar 2. So I got to do one of his pet projects, and from that it's like one job after the other, and so it was like from the beginning it just built off of one job after the next. So and it wasn't after school; it was kind of during, and it happens to a lot of people too. So I'm not really special. It's just when you're in the system, you're in the system.
That's pretty amazing from my perspective. Wow.
I don't know. I'd rather just stay home and do YouTube videos, to be honest. Because sometimes you work with some awful people, and you're just like, I don't want to draw anything for you, But you learn a lot, then you walk away, and then do your own thing. Hopefully, one day, I'll walk away.
I guess it must be different for you, because for me, like, I hear the names you're saying, and it's just, whoa, I know that guy. I've seen that guy. That's like, I guess I get starstruck a bit still.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I'm talking to you, it's like, but you're very good. Why am I talking to you?
No, when you meet them though, you realize that they're just people too, Like, although the one time that I was actually for real starstruck was when I met Ian McCaig, and I was in San Francisco recently at the other schoolism workshop, and it was like I went up to him, I'm like, I've never been starstruck until this day, and he looks at me, he's like, my wife doesn't even tell me that, and I'm like, uh-huh, and then I asked him to draw a little drawing in a sketchbook. It was a good time, but other than that, it's like, oh, okay. You're amazing, but I don't feel that starstruckness as much.
Well, did you work? You worked for ArenaNet, right?
Yes.
Did you work while Jamie Jones was there?
No, so he worked there like 10 years ago or something like that. There's like a new wave of concept artists there right now, and it's pretty awesome. But you walk around and there's just huge canvas prints of all Jamie's paintings, and I'm like, amazing. And then like once his name is brought up, everyone's like, oh yeah, Jamie, yeah, Jamie, and I'm like kind of just in the shadows, like, yeah, Jamie. I remember it was like back in 2006 when I first saw Jamie's work online, and I was like, all right, well, I quit. But here I am. I tend to like jump between different styles because I wanted to do more realistic, and now it's like more like anime-like. And how do you feel about jumping with styles? Because I know you have your like Pointy Chins series, and you're developing this own personal style, and it's going really well. It's really cool. Do you feel like you want to jump between that and realism and that kind of thing, or?
I don't know. I'm trying to force myself to not do other styles now.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is, I've seen so many artists that I admired, and when I look at their work, they tend to not do that. They tend to not fluctuate between stuff. And for me, I was really interested in so many different styles. And so it was kind of hard to be like, well, just do one out of all these. But I would see like the quality. like Joe Mad is a good example
Oh, I love
of
it.
a guy who's probably my favorite artist, or at least one of them. And he doesn't like he's not J. Scott Campbell, right? Like he's
Yeah.
just Joe Mad. He's always Joe Mad. Um, and I mean his style evolves. It's not to say that he doesn't evolve, but
Hmm.
it's just him. And I was more of the jack of all trades. Like I would get a lot of the things where when I was doing freelance work, people would send me prompts of like, well, we have this guy's work. Make your work look like his work. It's like, oh, okay.
That's the
And
worst.
that always sucked. Especially when you try and do something original and they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Now don't do that. And
Yeah, yeah. I've been there.
yeah. So the idea was, okay, let's learn from the people I look up to, and if they're not jumping around styles, maybe that's something I
Yeah.
have to do. Like just be consistent, find something that I really like, and that was a hard thing is realizing like, whoa, I like a lot of things. I don't
Hmm.
just like one thing.
Right.
But then I had to start asking myself, like, what when I was a kid, did I like a lot of things? It's like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I like Dragon Ball, I like a bunch of stuff, but it was easier to say what my influences were at that time, and it was more just
Yeah.
like, I want it to look cool. And I remember looking at other people's work and thinking, like, wow, that's so great. I wish they did the eyes differently. Like, like,
Yeah.
like everything about this is so cool, except like with Dragon Ball, I remember I hated the way Akira Toriyama drew abs. It was just
Oh God. Yeah.
I did not like them, and I was just like, man, he's so good, but I hate the way he does some of the muscles. They don't look real.
Right. There's
They
like
don't
that
make
muzzle does not
sense.
exist.
Yeah, they don't really make sense. Like okay, and so it's like
Yeah.
you got to be your own favorite artist in a way.
Mhm. I'll make a confession, and it's like whenever I say this, people are like, "What? I've never seen an episode of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z."
That's
And
okay.
yeah,
Like
but I feel
Dragon Ball is better, but Dragon Ball Z, if you've seen one, you've seen them all.
okay. People are like, "Dude, man, you're supposed to be an artist. Like, how have you not seen it?" Like, I just never got it. I was more like, "Oh, is Sailor Moon on? Let's watch that." Oh, is that Reboot? Let's watch that.
Oh, reboot.
Reboot was great.
It was made in Vancouver, you know.
How was it?
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Mm.
And yeah, yeah.
Would you say it was difficult to start a YouTube channel? It seems so daunting to put yourself out there, especially if you're young. Not to mention all of the editing for the videos.
Editing.
You learn. Wait,
What
I'm
is
missing.
this editing you speak of?
Oh, I'm missing something here. You learn as you go. Like it's daunting, but once you learn each thing one by one, I find it's becoming easier, and then just becomes a pipeline, or something like that.
Yeah.
And putting yourself out there, like I don't know, I think I deleted my first few videos, but like I was really like not myself, and it was like, oh, what do people want to see? And so like you learn to just kind of be yourself and be vulnerable and allow people to know who you really are. And I think that's the best approach versus like putting on a show and jumping around in your underwear, like, hey guys, welcome to my channel. Like, I'm not gonna mention any names, but like, so it's just I don't know. It is daunting. But it's such a learning process, and it's something you'll remember how to do for the rest of your life. So even if you don't succeed right away, you can use that knowledge for other things, like in the workforce, or if you have a product that you want to sell, you build a platform on YouTube. It's all very beneficial, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't start thinking I was going to do anything with it.
Mhm.
It was more just like, no, if someone's helped by this, that's great.
That's
Um,
wonderful.
it wasn't until many years later that I even started making any money with it,
Mhm.
and then, oh, well, this is good. Um,
Yes.
but I think a lot of people now, the thing is, they look at YouTube like the result. Okay, I see other people doing this. I know they're making some money,
Mm.
and they're kind of going for that, which I mean, I understand that, but when I started, it wasn't that way because no one
Yeah.
was making any money. So it was more just do it because you want to do it.
Yeah, and for me, it's like I definitely didn't start for the money because I'm getting like what $2 a month or something. So it's really not even that much, and I don't even uh, I'm not really. It's more of just sharing the stuff, and getting people the information and the knowledge, and there's a lot of people that want to know about art, and nobody assumes that you can make art. I mean, you can make money with art in the future as a career, and it's like and me and everyone else doing this. It's like we're examples for them. Like it is possible, and so that's if that's what it delivers, then that I'm happy with that. So yeah. I don't know. Oh, I gotta switch back to you. It'd be cool if there was like an automatic switch function. Bobes, you got the bobes in there.
I think more than anything, with not just YouTube, but with life in general, it seems you just need to be doing something that helps someone else. Like it provides a service, or I mean, even if it's just artwork that people like. Again, it's got to be for someone. Not necessarily like you do it for them, as in I'm going to draw what you want me to draw, but you do something to the best of your ability so that it's beneficial not just to you but to other people in some way. And a lot of times I'll get comments from people who are starting YouTube channels, and it's always about like, well, could you promote me because I'm starting out and stuff. And I look at their things, and it's like they haven't even done 2 or 3 videos, and it's more a
Right.
case of like, well, what are you doing for other people really?
Exactly.
Do you want to do this just because you want fame, or
Hmm.
is there something beyond that?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it never fails because when people want to do things for fame, it's obvious and it's not authentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people just kind of don't know how to look past that, and it's a carrot on the stick. You'll never actually get that fulfillment. Like fulfilling, I mean, helping other people is far more fulfilling than money or driving around in a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? And so, but you have to be that person before you can share it, right? You have to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah. Anyway, how's the chat going?
The chat is asking some questions, like, what's your opinion on artists who sell fan art?
Okay, big topic. Um, Sell fan art or make money because of doing fan art? That's I guess that's the difference. And I'll start with the first one. To sell fan art, um, I mean, it's like it's borderline tricky with the law, right? Because it's like not your intellectual property. So you could get a cease and desist, like stop selling Mickey Mouse on your towels. Like that's not your character. Um, but then it's like, okay, Patreon. We have like uh, Sakimi-chan, Kron Prince, and we got Paul, good friend of mine, Zeronis. And it's like they're not selling they're not selling their art, right? They're selling their process videos and how they learn. And if you look at the law, if you're teaching, if there's educational value, you're allowed to use other people's content. So there are workarounds, there are loopholes, and then there's the whole artistic question of, well, are you a real artist if you're just copying other people's work? Well, yeah, because you're interpreting them. Now, if you were to sit there and just trace and copy something exactly and sell it, then it's like, well, I don't know. That's questionable. But if you're like, oh well, I'm gonna do a version of Elsa from Frozen, but she's gonna be a badass knight. It's fan art. It's someone else's idea, but you're putting your own twist to it. So I don't know. It's not really a topic I've delved too much into because I'm still starting out with all this stuff. But I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my take. Sycra?
I don't know. It's okay. Um, I, I I mean, I'm a fan of stuff, so I understand why it's cool to do fan art. I think the hard part is sometimes there's like it feels like there's a trap almost. And when you look at convention artists, sometimes it feels like, well, I don't think they're a fan of everything they do fan art of.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be possible to see all that anime and stuff. And
Right. Oh god, I can't watch anime because there's so many episodes and so many shows. I'm like, I gotta draw.
What's your advice to thinking like a designer as opposed to just illustrating a pretty picture?
Designer. That's a great question. Who asked that?
Didn't catch their name.
Well, okay, so
Crystal.
illustration and making pretty images is an important thing because if you have a okay, let me take that back. So if you're working as a designer, if your passion is designing and coming up with new concepts and new things, you kind of access a different part of your creativity because it's not about making it look pretty. It's about making it serve the function that you want. Like let's say you want to design a character, you don't have to make it all pretty. You can make it as crude and not perfect, but the content is there, so you can pass it off to a modeler or you can actually make it yourself. But when you think as a designer, you're like putting aside this idea of like sparkles and glitter, right, and making your picture look all fancy for people to like, right? Instead, you're just like, okay, let me do some research, let me figure out what I want my design to look like, and you pull that together. And researching is the most fun part because you're like on Pinterest for hours, like, oh, what if it looked like that? Oh, what if we put this in our level? And so, thinking like a designer, you have that mindset. But if you're thinking like an illustrator, you're switching. You're turning that part off. I mean, sometimes you can do both at the same time. But if you're thinking about illustration, you're kind of accessing the creativity that you have in to make beautiful strokes on a piece of paper or digital, and you're illustrating. But that's not to say you can't do both at the same time. Because if you look at artwork by Ashley Wood, he's got the robots and the zombies and the pretty girls, but he's also designing these cool robots, and you feel a story there. So there's a balance. And I know some designers who can't draw for crap, right? But their designs are amazing. It's like, yes, let's build that, because they're idea generators. They know where to look. They know where to research. They know what to pick, and they become sort of production designers. And so, again, hope that answered your question.
There's another connected one. How did you guys study design in order to create awesome costumes and characters and all that sexy stuff?
And steal it. I'm gonna go back to like steal like an artist because everything exists out there, right? Like if I want to design a cool, Halloween costume with like a doll or whatever, I just pull up a bunch of pictures of stuff that already has that. And of course you can wing it and like do like a pass, like, and you just draw. But like if you have the reference and all the content is there, you learn to pick stuff that you like and put it in your design, change it, improve upon it, come up with something new, a new version of it. And so cool costumes and stuff, like I just have a whole Pinterest of like costumes that I like and just move from there. But how did I learn? Through iteration. So you have to do a bunch of like hundreds of bad ones, right? So that you get a feel for what's good and what's bad. You can't just jump in there and have awesome stuff right away, unless you're just fucking awesome. And that's really rare. But yeah, sorry, I'm multitasking, drawing and talking. But yeah, so yeah.
How did you study design?
Design? I study design.
You're a designer. You know what you're doing.
I'm really curious. What is it? I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a fanboy or something, but what is it like when you're in art center? Because I mean,
it's awful.
From the inside, it's one thing, but from the outside, it's just become this kind of like a mystical thing. Like it's just like, oh, you live in what is it, Pasadena?
Oh.
I mean, like, where did the Greeks live?
Oh. I don't know.
Mount Olympus?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Greek gods, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
That's funny.
the Greek people.
The Greek
Well,
people.
Their economy's not doing so
yeah, they
good.
live in poverty.
Oh.
Arts Center, College of Design in Pasadena, California. Let's see. It's awesome. But at the same time, it like you said, it's different from the inside and different from the outside. Because before I went in, I thought it would be something, and it was totally different than I expected. And it's like there are some students who go in there thinking, they have this pipe dream, and once they're like one semester in, they're like, this isn't what I expected, and they kind of just drop out or whatever. But you go in, realize that it's like a boot camp for artists, right? It's like they're gonna make sure you know the stuff. They're not gonna hold your hand either. It's like you gotta take initiative. And then yeah, it gets hard. It's really hard because you are tested as a person. And I noticed the people that have had some kind of college experience beforehand do better because the people straight out of high school just didn't last, right? So it's one thing that people put on the pedestal, but the reality is you can still learn this content and by other means like YouTube or Concept Design Academy or much cheaper options, because I wouldn't have gone if I didn't get any scholarship, right? So I think I talked about that in one of my podcast things. So it's magical and beautiful, but I do it again if I could. But it's not as magical and beautiful as you might think from the outside. Does that answer the question?
I mean, kind of. I'm curious. Like, what did you expect it to be like, and what was different?
I thought it would be like happy, friendly artists, like, hey, we're gonna draw, we're gonna make awesome stuff. Do you want to make awesome stuff? Let's do this together. But it's really like almost cutthroat. Like you start to acknowledge that it's very competitive, and I guess that's kind of what drives you to want to do well. And when you're facing like not only your teachers but your peers who are also badasses like that, because if you're like most artists, like you went to high school and you were pretty good compared to everyone else in your class, that kind of thing. But when you get to a place like Art Center, and you get the same feeling when you put your stuff online too, you realize that you're not the best, and so it's very humbling, right? And you sort of kick yourself in the butt, and you're like, you get in the gear, you're not awesome, right? And it was like a big ego deflation for me, so that helped a lot. But at the same time, like I said, now there are so much more options. I didn't even think to go to YouTube to learn things, or the much cheaper schools nearby, which are Concept Design Academy and Red Engine. I don't know if that's still around. Brainstorm. Those are all LA based, and I'm not in LA anymore. But there's the access is there. So, yeah.
Did you ever find yourself getting influenced by what other students were doing in your class?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, this guy's doing this cool thing. Oh shit, I gotta do this.
Yeah, and I had to learn to not do that anymore, because it's like you got to find your own voice, and if like, oh, so and so is doing really cool, awesome rendered pieces, no, I guess I'm supposed to be doing that. But the reality is, like, people respond to the stuff that you do for yourself more. And you can go on DeviantArt and just look at how many people are copying Sakimi-chan, right? And they're not very good. I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, I can tell you're blah, blah, blah. I'm going to bring her up a lot because she's a big topic, I think. And so it's not the best. So in class, if like someone does this thing, and I'm like, oh, well, I got to do, something like that or whatever, I just was frustrated the whole time because whatever I was doing didn't feel as cool or awesome. And it's like maybe advice that I would give myself if I was to go back in time. And it's like, dude, just relax. If you're not feeling it for yourself, stop. Do something else, And these are things you learn when you're in that environment. Also, online too. Like you just start to pick up on these things. And before, maybe just, I mean, this year when I was starting trying to get more stuff on Instagram, it's like it wasn't about me doing my own art and getting people to like it. It was about getting people to like stuff. So what I was doing was like, okay, what's popular? Okay, I'm gonna draw that, and it felt empty. Like, okay, and then sure it worked and people liked it, but I didn't feel like I enjoyed it. It was just like and it was a nightmare because it wasn't what you should do with art, right? So it took me a while to realize that you just got to do what you got to do for yourself. And I'm still getting there. I'm still learning.
What does it do to you when you have to do, because I don't know, I suppose for work you don't always, like, you get to showcase some of your ideas maybe, but not a lot. So what does it do to you to have to put your art as a tool for somebody else's use?
So I don't know about other companies because all right, let's see, I've worked on movies, I've worked on theme park designs, but this is my first video game job, and I've heard nightmare stories from other video game places. I guess I'm pretty lucky at ArenaNet because they're very much about accessing what you like, and it's like, make awesome stuff, we'll put it in the game, that kind of thing. It's not like, I mean, of course we'll have some assignments of, draw this helmet for this character, that kind of thing. But really it's, it depends on the studio, and if it's, what was the question again? Sorry, I'm like drawing. So what is it like to use your art as a tool for other people's visions? Yeah, like I said earlier, it's like it can be suffocating if you're not doing it for yourself. But at the same time, I've seen moments where I was able to make it for myself, and it just so happened that that's what they wanted anyway, right? So it's a balance, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, thank you for reading all those comments for us. You rock.
The last two were from me, not from
Oh.
I'm taking my lion's share here. After doing the study, do you think it's necessary to apply what you learned directly on the canvas right after?
Yeah, that's helpful. I mean, logically, right? It sounds good on paper. It's like, okay, I'm going to draw this, hand, right? And I did this hand like 100 times from reference, and then so you turn your reference off and then try it, and that sort of like solidifies it into your brain. So yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that more.
What do you think, Sycra?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the only way to do it.
Yes.
You're not doing it that way. You're doing it wrong. Because I've done it the other way, where it's just like every day I kind of would think about what am I not good at? Like, oh, I don't know. I've never drawn a lion. Let me draw a lion. Let's do that. But I wasn't getting anywhere. Like, it wouldn't stick. It would stick for that day, but then after, I wouldn't remember it. So now what I do is very much dependent on what I want to do. If it's kind of like draw what you want from imagination and then get stuck, and that's when you got to use reference. And then do your study if you want. And I've started to actually do this thing where I not never, but I try not to actually do studies from reference. What I do is I look at the reference and I try and think of like, what's the problem I'm running into and how did they solve it in the reference? And then put the reference away and try and do it from imagination. And then look at the reference again and see, like, did I get it? Because otherwise what happens is, for me anyway, I go into like this copy mode and I'm really comfortable in it. Like, I can just look at a reference and copy it line for line and measure the angles and get the proportions right and stuff, but I'm not remembering. It's kind of like it's borrowed knowledge instead of owned knowledge. That's how I try and think of it. But especially when you're converting things, like, okay, this is a picture in this realistic style, let me convert it to my own style. It forces me to not just copy what I see, but instead like try and understand what is going on here. What are the physics, or what are the the anatomy or anything like that. It's like these are the core issues that one has to deal with.
Right, and you just recently did a video about reference studying, and like instead of copying it directly, like you said, you interpret it. And I think what you did of those characters, like I guess they were like lying in bed, but you exaggerated one of them or both of them, and it's like I'd rather see that than like a direct, measured, perfect copy, you know. And that's a great way to study, I think.
What do you think about 3D? There's a person who's studying now, but he feels it's too technical, so he would rather draw. But is it important?
I wish I knew 3D. I'm starting to get back into it. So I took a ZBrush class, I took a Maya class, I took a Moto class. I don't remember any of it, right? I mean, I could slowly try to relearn it, but it's it's a skill set that is so valuable if you're in a small studio company or something, or if you're on a project with a couple of friends. If you can draw and design something and paint it and model it and animate it, you're just that much more valuable. But at the same time, it's not necessary. Like, you know, you could just stick with drawing and painting and designing, and that's perfectly fine. But personally, I wish I had learned that more.
Do you think it? I don't know. It digs into your time for drawing. Like, if you want to be an artist, do you think you should be a jack of all trades? Like, no animating, no modeling, no
Well,
drawing.
so that goes back to what Sycra said about doing what you want. Like, what are the results that you want to see for your future? And if it's you want to be good at just drawing and painting, dude, yeah, go for it. But if there's somewhere down the line where you see yourself working with some friends and making a game or making a little short film, then you have to acquire the necessary skill to do that, or you hire people. But it's all linked to what you want to do for your future.
Here's a question for both. Do you know any animators? How are they doing career-wise?
My brother's an animator.
How is he doing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. But it's cutout animation, so it's not the same as what you might think of. There's a lot of different types of animation, and when a lot of people think they're going to get a job, like 3D, fine, there's jobs for that. But a lot of people tend to think, when they think of animation, they think of anime and stuff, and it's like if you're in North America, slim pickings for a job as that type of animator, because that tends to be outsourced. It's in Korea, maybe in Japan, but yeah. So I don't know.
I do personally know several animators, and they are doing great. I mean, any video game company needs animators. Like, they're not. You for some reason imagine like a game studio is like, you got a couple artists, couple that do everything, but really it's like 300 people, and all of them have some kind of position. And so the animators, yeah, and I often like, am very inspired because like I wish I could do what they do. Every project has a whole range of necessary positions. So I don't know anyone that's. I do know. Okay, so I personally know. See, the thing is, ever since I moved here, I kind of forgot about my LA friends. Sorry, guys, if you're listening. I got 3 or 4 friends at Disney Animation, right? So they're like, one of them is doing stereoscopic 3D design, the other is doing actual 3D texturing, and the other, I forgot what they do. But so they're not master artists. They don't draw or paint. They don't have a YouTube. They don't do any of that. They didn't even go to art center. They just like got good and applied, and they got an internship and just from there worked their way up, right? So you don't have to do all that art school, art center stuff. But yeah, they're doing very well. So it is possible.
Here's another question from the chat. I have no links into my first industry job or previous experience. Do I have a chance, or am I just delusional? Will my work speak enough for me to get my foot in the door?
What was the first part of that question?
They have no links, no
Okay.
connections. I'm imagining they have a network, they have no work experience. So what do? They just use their portfolio, or
Sure. I want you to put yourself in the position of, let's say you're the head of a studio. You need to hire people for, I don't know, a concept art position, right? You're gonna go on the internet and you're gonna look at portfolios that are online. So whatever, ArtStation or people that applied, and you come across a great portfolio. You're gonna be interested. You contact that person. You have an interview. Bada bing, bada boom. And so the key there is to have a great portfolio. On top of that, make sure you're not socially awkward and insecure, because then what happens is like, okay, and I've seen it happen. It's like a great portfolio, but once the interview happened, and I have to interview people too because we're bringing people on the team and stuff sometimes, but their personalities are just, they don't jive. It's like, you have great work, but you're kind of an a-hole. Like, so sorry, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Just so be great to work with and have great work. I think that's I think there was a Noah Bradley article about that somewhere, or was it someone else? Anyway, so yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Great, yeah, have a great portfolio. Even if you don't have industry connections, your work is being seen. I'm at work and I'm walking around. I see people scrolling down on ArtStation and looking at the stuff. So it's like, we're people too. We look at art. We get inspiration. Collect Pinterest. So if your work is great and it pops up on our screen, like not that we're hiring right now, but it's like we're intrigued, right? So I hope that answers your question. I also see a whole array of very young people getting very good really fast. I'm like, God dang it, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like the old dude, like, I don't know how to use ZBrush. You can go back to Photoshop, How you doing? Having fun over there?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
She's in like some black pool thing, but then I don't know. I didn't really think it out too much, so now I'm struggling a bit. Like, okay, so what would happen?
Dude,
why?
You went to color, man. I'm jealous. I want to paint. That's great. I mean, if I met that girl, I'd be like, "Hey, what's up? You look like an elf girl. Did you want to hang out?"
Oh, maybe
I'm an expert pervert.
Ask your girl to get some surgery or something.
Oh god, I don't have a girl yet. I gotta get married soon.
Married? Oh.
Yeah, I'm at that age where it's like I gotta find somebody to marry.
It helps if you have a girl if you want to get married.
Yes, absolutely. That is part of the plan. I just have to inject myself into a Muslim community, which I don't want to do because I don't like Muslims, even though I am one. So it's like, I'm just kidding. I love you all. But it's just, there's a lot of drama and baggage that comes with the mosque community and stuff. So, you know how it is. Wait, why are you guys laughing?
The cat is like.
Yeah, he really wants to be heard and known. And
Aw. Yo, my brother has 3 cats.
Wow.
Oh, wait, what's your cat's name?
Pisiku.
What is it?
Pisiku.
How the heck do you even spell that?
Pisciu.
What?
Pisciu.
No. No, Pisicu. Piscu. P-I-S. I know my cat.
Oh god.
I love my cat.
My cat.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what I'm hearing. Pisicu, like Pikachu, Pisicu,
Pisiku. Yeah.
P-I-S-I-C-U.
Yeah.
P-I-S-I-C-U. Pisicu.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Cat. It means cat.
That's his name?
I didn't name him.
It's
all
in
right.
his passport and everything.
He has a passport.
Yeah.
Pisicu has a passport?
He's got a passport. He had a passport. No, I had a passport. Yeah, but Yeah, he has a passport.
That is absurdly awesome.
And he's been traveling places.
Yeah, he's got a microchip and everything. He's like a
Yeah.
Borg.
He's a Borg.
Yeah. Very loud one.
I can hear him.
Yeah.
I think he wants food.
I gave him food twice.
Oh, he just wants to play.
Yeah, I think he just wants to be on.
Hmm.
I think he just wants you.
Hey, sorry for insulting you. I'm Muslim. Don't worry. I was just kidding about the whole Muslim thing. I'm reading the comments.
There's a couple of questions. What do you think about Ringling College, and what do you think about online art schools?
I don't know. I've met some people from Ringling. I don't know anything about it. I don't know enough to answer that question. Online art, online learning, that's great, I think. But one thing with online learning or anything that you're doing at home is you have to be truly self-driven. I mean, I always say that I'm sort of self-taught. Like I've learned art before I went to art school, and art school taught me how to design, so it's like there's a balance. And I did that just like I'm like I want to learn to paint, so I'm learning to paint a lot. But I wish I had the resources that exist today, but they don't. They didn't back then. So I mean, you guys have YouTube, Gumroad, you got the Schoolism, which is great. But yeah, you just got to be self-driven. And if you're going to expect somebody to come to your house and hold your hand and be like, okay, draw this, okay, draw that, no one's going to do that. You have to be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you wake up early, you're just having fun. Don't let anybody bring you down, because that always happens. So yeah.
It's pretty crazy how much you have to put in on top of everything. Like, even if you think, well, I don't know about Art Center, but from my experience, it's a lot more than just, you go to school and that's it. Like, the school is going to help you, but at the end of the day, you're the one who's responsible for your success or not.
Someone has a question. Amela Amela? And she asks, I'm Muslim and I'm an artist as well. How do you deal with your parents not approving of you drawing? So I'm going to address this right now. As a Muslim, there's this school of thought where drawing is haram, which haram means a sin, so you're not allowed to draw, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, especially drawing people and figures and idols and sculptures, that stuff, I don't know. I still, astaghfirullah, I don't know what I'm doing yet. I haven't really made a decision on that. But the reality is, you can still draw. There's architecture, there's interior design, there's prop design, costume design, vehicle design. All these things are actually permissible. And so if your parents don't approve of you for that reason, there's counter evidence to say, no, there is a future in there. But if the argument is just about, you have to be a doctor, which is what we're all very much exposed to, then, I mean, like, you're going to live your life. Your parents are, may they rest in peace, they're eventually going to pass away, right? I mean, unless you go first. But what I'm saying is, you're going to be living your life. If you're doing something just to please someone else, whether it's your parents, your friends, or people that judge you, then it's like you've chosen a path to please other people. But if you choose a path to please yourself, then I think you're far better off. And there are halal ways to do all that. I know it's very questionable because I'm drawing really pretty girls on the screen, but the reality is, like, I don't know yet entirely. So hope that answers your question. Bless you.
Are either of you thinking of making a comic, or have made one, or have any advice for those who might be making one?
Sorry, I was reading You said something about a comic?
Yeah. There was a question earlier if either of you are thinking of making a comic, or have made one, or have any advice for those who might be making one.
Yes, I'm actually making one, but it's probably never going to see the light of day because I don't like it. But it's good practice. So doing a comic, you have to enjoy it, right? But plan out a lot of things. So what I like to do is just draw key, like, scenes and like fill in the gaps between. Like I want this epic scene of this girl jumping over a cliff or whatever, and I'll draw that, and then draw another scene, and then fill in the gaps with like story or whatever. Or if you have a story already written out, pick your most favorite scenes, draw those, and then start filling in the in-betweens. Because then it starts to, when you see the whole picture, the big picture, you can sort of zoom in and start picking things out, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm looking for a color palette to use for my girls.
Will doing traditional art make you understand color more because it's more natural?
Absolutely. Yes. So the reason I paint the way I paint digitally is because I learned how to paint traditionally. Just open this. This is pretty cool. I like the colors. And if I didn't learn traditionally, so I learned how to oil paint, acrylics, watercolor, and all that junk. Wait, which one is? That's the one I want to open. And yeah, because you learn what it takes to really blend certain colors, right? And you allow yourself to have these aha moments, like when you blend green with red, it's just going to turn gray, and like, why is it doing that? But you have to experience it to understand it, and so yeah, it's really necessary. And I mean, I'm sure that you could probably learn color very well digitally, but it's just so much faster if you allow yourself to go traditional for like a week, just make mistakes, do a bunch of awful paintings on purpose just to understand how it feels to put a brush down and move color on a piece of paper. Because like it's not as forgiving as digital. Like I could just undo or Control Z, Command Z. And with traditional, it's like, well, I made a mark. There it is. It looks awful. What can I do next? And you do it again, and it's like, oh, that's what red does next to green. Or blue and orange look really good together. So you have a lot of aha moments. And I'd recommend reading a book by Richard Schmid called Alla Prima. I learned a lot about color by reading that book. It talks about oil painting and how to mix and how to look at things in real life and interpret them with your paints. So, yeah. Am I talking too much? I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, I think you're talking enough. But yeah, that book is great.
It's a great book.
Did you do the color charts?
Oh my God, no. I did like one page. Because at the end of the book, there are these color charts, if anyone is interested, that you can do, and it goes through the whole range of every color combining with every other color. And through that, it's just a shortcut to understanding what happens when you mix those colors. But I just didn't have the time or the patience to set up the canvas or the pieces of paper and the grids to do that. Did you do them?
It was really, really time-consuming. It's supposed to, because what he said was, if you do them all, you become like this master of color.
Yes.
And you are able to paint any color out of your imagination. And what I found was, for me, not so much. It was a really long exercise, and I think what I learned more than anything is how to smoothly match values.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of that, I think it works if you keep it up, like if you're constantly doing it. And I wasn't, so but it was more the stuff he said. Like he talked about warm shadows. Like there's in the deepest shadow, it's always a warm.
Yeah.
And that's something that always stuck with me. So I mean, even when I draw now, when I go to the super deep occlusion shadows, I tend to go towards warm.
Brilliant, yeah.
Stuff like that. It's really, really useful.
Thanks for reminding me. I kind of forgot about the warm shadows thing.
Robot?
Robot.
People are saying I'm a robot.
I think it's your microphone or
No, I sound like robots.
What do you do if you find some users online or in real life selling prints, shirts, cups, and other items with your artwork?
you say the following: "Hey man, glad you like my work. Keep going." Why? Because they're spreading your work, your art, man. Right? I never cared about people stealing my stuff and printing them, blah blah blah. Even if they're making money off of it, because there's no such thing as bad press. The more people seeing your work, the better. That's what I think. I know a lot of people disagree, like, no, you should be making your money, and it's not fair. But they're kind of doing work for you. It's like, look at this cool stuff. Now, it's different if they're claiming that they did the work, right? I don't know. Uh, Maybe that was the completely wrong answer, and people should not hear that, but that's what I think right now. I'll probably regret it a year from now, but it's like, just get it out there, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's not much you can do about this stuff. And anyway, okay, so if a person steals your work, right? Okay, they put it on their gallery and they claim it's yours. Okay, they've got one piece that they're saying they did, but what's going to happen if an employer says, all right, so we're going to hire you because you did this piece and that's great. Okay, now do this other piece. And what are they going to do? They're screwed then. So in the end, they're cheating themselves because they're going to be blacklisted once people find out what they are. And eventually people are going to find out anyway. So
Yeah, that's a perfect answer too. Cool, yeah.
Mooning asks, I get my proportions right and fast when I draw on paper, but whenever I go on digital, it always seems to be harder. Do you guys experience this too?
Um, it depends on what you're using. I've used a Cintiq before. I don't like it, so I switched back to tablet. But it takes practice to be able to get the same drawing kind of intuitiveness when you're drawing digitally. And I have experience where it's like, this does not feel the same as drawing on paper, but you can reach a level through practice where it is as intuitive and it looks the same sketch-wise. You use a Cintiq, Sycra?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm on a
So you like it?
I didn't when I first tried the 21 UX,
Yes,
and
that's one.
then the 22 HD was on sale, and I thought, at the time I had some disposable income. Okay, well, I can't turn down a sale because
Hey.
my genetics forbid me from it. So.
Your genetic.
So I got it, and then it was very different. I don't know why. Maybe because it was in my workspace and not someone like it was on my table at my height and things like that. I noticed even with the Cintiq Companion, I had a lot of trouble with it until I started taking it the way I like holding it the way I hold my sketchbook and just sort of carrying it around with me and not having it at a different height than I'm used to. I don't know if this is like how are you with tools and like are you very flexible with them or are you more like well it has to be just so for everything to work?
I guess it's pretty flexible, but again, I prefer my tools. Like computer at home is way faster than my computer at work, right? Which is like it shouldn't be like that. But I prefer just a medium tablet. Semi-fast computer that can run Photoshop with my hotkeys, right? Because I'm used to the hotkeys. But if I'm in a situation like if I'm giving a demo on somebody else's computer or whatever, I can pretty quickly get accustomed to it. Then I'll get in the zone and it just becomes intuitive again. But it takes time. It's not right away. My elf girlfriend. What's up?
Where do you guys go to find references for your paintings or illustrations? I find it hard to find one with good lighting that fits the pose of my sketch.
Pinterest. I got addicted to Pinterest this year. I don't know why it took so long to discover it, but yeah, I don't know. There's like a great range of content on there, and um, but you have to be selective. You yourself have to have good taste. You can't just like save everything. You have to be sort of your own little production designer, and be like, okay, this is the this is an awesome color palette. I'm going to keep it. Oh, this lighting situation works. I'm going to steal that later. And yeah, that's what I do.
I don't use reference that much, so.
Oh, I should add to that. Of course, real life. I found one time I was at a coffee shop and I was drawing this like, I don't know, fairy girl, and I was like trying to draw flowers on her, and I was like, I grabbed my phone, I needed a reference of flowers, and I didn't really find any good ones. And then I looked outside. There was a flower bed right there. I was like, I'm such an idiot. There it is. And so I just drew from that, and it was far better than any picture because when you're looking at something in real life, you're using two eyes and stereo vision, so you get the full depth and form of the reality of it versus a camera's interpretation of whatever that object might be.
I'm not sure about this one. It must be some inside joke that I'm not aware of. But is there any possibility in the near future that we can expect a comeback of the dude with the chicken?
Oh God, I think that's referring to mine.
Yeah.
I drew a guy with, haha, check out my chicken. Yes, expect him to return. How could I say no to that? Where there is demand, there will be supply.
The glove has been thrown. Okay, so there's another question. I've been practicing face proportions lately, but the face mostly looks stale. Should I study more face proportions, or is it something that comes automatically through the years?
It comes through the years, but there are shortcuts to learning face proportions and drawing people, and it's by practicing different styles and ranges and also looking at real life. You go to a coffee shop, draw people, don't let them see you drawing them because it's kind of weird sometimes. But proportions, there's a book by Andrew Loomis called Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, and it covers a lot of things about proportions, face proportion, body proportion, and it's very useful. But I found that it's, like, I learned proportion by analyzing existing artwork. I literally would, if this is somebody else's drawing, and let me just make a layer on top if you could see my screen. Right, back to my screen. Whoa. Like what I would do, I'd pick somebody else's artwork and be like, okay, well, what are their proportions? Because we're told that a face has like an egg, so it's like that, and then okay, the eyes are supposed to be in the middle, and then within this bottom part you divide it into thirds, and that's the nose, and that's the mouth, and there's the eyes, blah blah blah. And then what I would do is go to each drawing that I think is good and test that. And I'll be like, okay, so this is in perspective, but I'll do an oval, right? Okay, yeah, so it's an oval. Halfway, okay, that's sort of where the eyes are, but then you start to notice that this artist might put their eyes a bit higher than that line, or lower, and if we divide this into thirds, it's like, okay, yeah, that sort of lines up. There's the mouth. Oh, the mouth seems to be higher. So it's this kind of analytics that you do over time, and you just remember each artist does things differently, and through this you understand that you have a whole range of you can imagine if you're in a character creation part of a game, it's like moving a slider up and down for where the eyes go, and then you become your own little creator, and you make the decisions of proportion. But you have to understand the proportions first by studying other stuff that already exists.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Somebody asks, what can I do to get to know other aspiring artists? I don't know anyone else who draws or paints.
Everyone in that chat room is an aspiring artist.
But I think he's referring to real life, as in maybe a sketch group or something, because, yeah, clearly.
So, okay, for something like that, let me answer with, every single person on this planet is capable of being a leader in their own way, right? And if you start some kind of Facebook group or like local, Seattle artists or whatever, local Kansas City, whatever, wherever you are, or maybe you have a forum or something. And Sycra has a forum, so you should check out his website, and you can join that forum and talk to people. But you have to know that you are somebody who someone else is looking for too. So once you find each other, like, okay, cool, let's draw some pretty girls or something, So that's how I would do it. I didn't have anyone. Like I grew up in Ohio, and I was teaching myself how to draw and paint, whatever, and there's no art there, right? I mean, there's like an art school back down in Columbus, but that was 2 hours away. I don't know anybody, and so I just did my own thing for a very long time, and it wasn't until I actually went to art school to develop that community. But now you have the internet and YouTube and stuff. You don't even have to go to like space or anything to meet people. It's like you just go online and why did I say space? I don't know. I want to go to space. That'd be really cool. You want to go to space?
I don't know. I used to wanna, and then
Scary.
like it's probably like I figured it's different than like I want to go to kind of like Star Trek Next Generation space.
Yes.
And not so much.
Moon.
Okay, you're waiting. What is it, like a couple of years to get to the next planet or something?
Mars.
I'm not interested in that too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we were born too early. We
Yeah.
want to go to the future where we have warp drives and.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something crazy here. I'm gonna merge these layers. Uh-oh, lost my line work. Okay, no big deal.
That's really cool. Man, I didn't really get a chance to see what you were doing, but it's very, very nice.
Oh, thanks, man. I've been into like creepy clown girl dolls lately.
Yeah. Why?
Okay, so I did an episode recently, like taking Jinx from League of Legends, which is a game I do not play, and I was like, I'm gonna do a Halloween costume for her, and then I was looking at all the reference, and it was like really cool, creepy dolls, and I don't like horror, I don't like scary movies, but for some reason it resonated with me. It's like it's really cool, and there's a lot of potential to have some really cool paintings and portraits of like. Some of these clown circus-like people, so that's why I choose that for now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I'm feeling something, might as well roll with it,
Yeah, the collar is great.
Stole it from.
And the button things.
Oh, the collar, not the color.
The color. Yeah, no, the color's okay.
Yeah, oh, it's okay.
I meant the collar.
Yeah, the collar, yeah.
I like how her hair is cropped super short. So
Yeah.
like, you would think she would be like frilly up top as well, but no, she's not.
Yeah, it really contrasts, like the shape.
Yeah,
The shapes are working really well together.
I love short hair. It's like, why doesn't every girl have that haircut? I'm confused. It's like, it's the best. Just kidding. No, it's.
No, I used to think that too. I think I still do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've talked to so many guys who are very opposite of this.
Yeah.
No, girls should only have long hair.
No, I like both. It's like, if you're a girl, that's awesome. You already get the prerequisite.
Wow. Okay.
Oh. I met most beautiful girl. She had eyes and nose.
Yeah.
Also, F on passport was F, not M. Not
Oh my
again will I
God.
get tricked.
That's a great accent.
I think I don't know many languages, but I try different accents.
Yeah, I'm not going to embarrass myself with that, but yeah.
What is the comparison between quality and appeal?
Quality and appeal, what? Want to take this one?
I don't think it's necessarily related, because I've seen a lot of work that's not that. How can I say this? It's not that technically accurate, and yet it's still appealing.
Yes.
And I think appeal, in some ways, I mean, I have two views on appeal. One is there is appeal in nature, like just a natural appeal, and this is stuff like the golden spiral thing. This is just stuff we see because it's how nature designs things, and nature is a great designer. And then there's the other appeal, which is, I mean, it's sort of nature as well, but it's more psychological. Like things represent things to humans in our minds, and I think when you think of art purely as just, oh, art is only drawing, I think you're missing out. And it's the same as, you wouldn't think of writing as just making marks on a page. There's more to it than that. And I think understanding psychology, understanding biology, like all the sciences have something to teach you about art. And appeal, I think, is one of the most neglected things, but also like the biggest, most important thing. Because when you're walking, let's say you're at Comic-Con and you're walking down the alley and you see a bunch of art, and you see a ton of art, what catches your eye is what's most appealing to you. So, or else it's just something, crazy. But often it's what appeals to you, and there's a big difference between something that's appealing and not. And I used to get told that that's where talent comes in, but I don't think that's exactly true. I think you can learn it.
I don't believe in talent.
Yeah. I go back and forth with that, but yeah, right now.
To add to that, so appeal, that's referring to like relevance to the audience, right? So if you're going to do a portrait of, okay, let's go back to the earlier example of, let's say an elf girl, like or whatever. It's cool, it's appealing, it has some quality, blah blah blah. But if it's a character that people already know, like, okay, Jinx, right? It has an automatic appeal because people already like that. So it's like for marketing, for selling yourself, etc., getting your name out there, or if you're making a product, appeal is tied into what's already relevant to that person. If they like cats and you draw a cat in your drawing, it's appealing to that person who likes cats. So but at the same time, you have to explore on your own without like. You have to turn off this idea that you're doing this for the audience, right? So then you allow yourself to explore what you really like by not posting for a couple weeks or not showing your work to anyone for approval, that kind of thing. So then you like explore, and then you kind of find yourself, and then you go back to doing things that are appealing. And it's a big learning experience, and I'm still in the middle of all of it. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I might quit my job and go work at Foot Locker. So I don't know. Yeah.
Not really, though. Or really?
Oh, no, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Oh, God, no. I mean, no, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to quit my job. Of course not.
How do you go about creating texture for fabrics, implying that the fabric is silk, burlap, denim, tarp?
So if you've ever used any 3D programs, you'll know that there are material attributes, and those attributes being reflectivity, matte, or transparent, translucent, subsurface scattering, all those things. So you can learn those things by looking at different fabrics in real life, and it's not that hard to acquire silk or whatever. Just have yourself a good little, pile of different cloth, right? And just analyze each one and know that silk is definitely going to reflect light differently than cotton, right? And the only answer I can say is just look at it, yeah?
So you would say it's easier to do it, like skip steps with a 3D program?
I'm sorry, what?
Like, you said if you know a 3D program, so you would, like, that sort of implies that you would have to know a 3D program.
Oh, no, you don't have to know a 3D program. I'm just saying if you do know a 3D program, there is that setting where you can change different attributes, but they exist in real life. It's not like 3ds Max defined that silk is reflective. It's just in there. But if you have that in front of you, you can say, well, obviously silk is shiny. Okay, let's look at the cotton. It's not shiny. There, we made a deduction. And so when you go to draw silk on a character, you make it shiny. And of course, you have to know how to make something look shiny. Understanding light and reflections and angle of incidence and all that fun stuff. And
Torch Fan is asking, how much would it take to get a job at Blizzard?
I swear, it's like that's everybody's dream job, but hey, I never wanted to work there. But except for Overwatch, that looks awesome. I don't know, like why don't you email them and ask them? You're allowed to email people. Like you have to again put yourself in their position. Let's say you're working on StarCraft 17, right? You know what you're looking for, and you're going online looking for people to hire, and if that's what you want to do, then your portfolio should look like StarCraft 17 or 18, the next big thing, right? But if your portfolio looks like, I don't know, Pokemon or some anime, it's like obviously it's not going to fit into what they're looking for. So make your portfolio relevant to the work that you want to do, and make sure you look like you're enjoying it. Because if you don't enjoy doing that, then it's like you shouldn't do a job that you don't enjoy, you know. Unless you're doing it for experience and it's an internship or something like that. That's my 2 cents at least. Is there like a timer to see how long we've gone so far?
We've been about an hour and 24 minutes.
What? Dude, that goes by fast.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Are you talking to them? Or?
Oh, you guys, yeah, Sycra and Flavia. I like the reflections on the materials there. Nice. See, he knows what he's doing. He's looked at materials before and he knows.
Yeah, materials. By material means booty.
Is it the boot? I thought he was talking about like the gold and stuff.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the booty.
Oh no, I'm talking about the gold. Yeah.
No, see.
When I'm perverted, I usually do that in private, but I'm bad at jokes.
Not so private anymore that you mentioned it.
Oh, man. I should just shut up because I end up like saying stupid stuff and digging myself a deeper hole. Anyway, well, there's my clown girl for now.
Here's one more question. I sometimes find inspiration from looking at others, but I also feel that their level is so high. How do you guys deal with that?
Okay, so people with extremely high levels of whatever skill and stuff, they feel the same way. They think their art sucks, and they're just like, they're also seeing other people's work, and everyone feels behind. I've seen that across the board with professionals, students, everybody, and there's no escape. So don't. I remember before I started Art Center, I saw this trailer for their school, yada yada, come to our school, and so they were like interviewing students, and one of them said, whenever I see something incredible, I'm not intimidated. Instead, I'm inspired to do something, to take that energy and do something with it, you know? So that's what I would have to say to that. You guys excited for Star Wars?
I forgot about it.
What?
Yeah, I forgot that it was a thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's about time. I'm so insulated. Is that what insulated?
Isolated?
Isolated.
Yeah.
Isotopes. Icicles.
All of those.
Everything. You are an isolated icicle, and an isotope.
Yeah. No, but once I remembered, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Although I had a dream that I watched it and it was awful, but let's just hope it's just a dream.
Are you sure it was a dream?
Oh god, it was me from the future saying, "Don't watch it.
Don't watch it. Don't torture yourself." So long way from StarCraft 1.
StarCraft? What?
Like from the real StarCraft.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Oh, I don't know why I was thinking about StarCraft.
Legacy of the Void?
Dude, last StarCraft I played was Brood War.
Yeah.
But this new one is all like fancy. I'm like, I don't have time to learn how to play this. I'd rather draw. Oh, I forgot to check the Twitch.
Goes to show how much I'm thinking about Star Wars.
Oh, there's only 10 people watching me on Twitch. I see how it is. Oh, I am. I thought I was streaming under creative. How do I do that? I'm so glad.
Well, here's a question. Asking for critiques from other artists. I can never seem to get an answer, though. I know they're very busy, and I don't want to annoy them. How can I approach somebody for a critique?
You just do it. I don't know. Part of being in the industry is learning how to be bold in certain situations. And I think, if you really want feedback, put your stuff together. And here's a pro tip, by the way, because I get lots of, please review my portfolio kind of thing. Make it easy for the viewer to look at your stuff. Like I've gotten messages like, hey, could you please give me a crit? I'm like, and there's no attachment. There's nothing. It's just like they want me to respond saying, yes, I will look. And then they send it. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like, just put it all right there so I can look at it, kind of come back to it later with an opinion or something. Also, if you're applying to a place to work, make sure you, how was I saying? Make it easy for the art directors to see your stuff, because I've overheard like art directors like reviewing portfolios, and it's like they didn't even attach their portfolio. They misspelled all this stuff. Make it to the point. Don't write a huge paragraph. Just be quick and understand that we aren't. It's not that we don't have time. Like we don't, but at the same time we're too lazy to sift through your website to find the drawing that you want us to look at. By the way, Sycra, you have a great site.
Oh, thanks.
I need to learn how to make a site, or if you
Really?
have any recommendations.
I didn't make it. The guy, Matej Giersak, made it for me.
Will he make mine for me? Okay, yeah, I need to figure out people who would do that for me.
Yeah, it's been a while. I just stick resources on it now.
Yeah. So you can navigate it easily and like put new art and stuff on your own?
Yeah, I should do that sometime.
Okay. But I need a proper website because I'm using Squarespace. It's okay. It's just
Squarespace is good.
It is, but it doesn't have like what I want to do for an actual website.
Right. What do you think about live streaming?
Me right now? Yeah, it's
How's
fun.
the experience?
So far, so good. It's definitely more lively than just being quiet and drawing alone for now. But at the same time, when you're drawing on your own, you're accessing a different range of creativity. What was I going to do? Okay, so I want to figure out how to make this under the creative tag. I don't understand Twitch. Like, how do you do? What is?
Never used it.
Can anybody tell me how to put this on creative? Do I just do a hashtag or something?
We're mostly done with the questions so far.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with this picture too. So
there we go.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, you're good to go.
Yeah.
All right, man. This has been great. Again, thank you so much for joining in on this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally. I think we should definitely. What's it called? Do this again sometime. We keep in touch. Do some collaborations or something.
Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds fine. Yeah, that's okay.
For some reason. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks to everybody who joined. Wait, let's take a look at his painting. That's wonderful. Look at that.
Well,
She's like leaning.
Zoom into yours too.
Okay. Wait, I want to admire yours for a second. Is that is she in water?
I don't know. It's not like exactly. I'm imagining it's got more. Is viscosity a word? Because I want to say viscosity, but I don't know if that's real. But like it's more dense. It's more dense than water. Because it's like supposed to be fantasy something or other.
She's in glop.
She's in glop. Exactly.
That's great. Um, hey man, what brushes do you use though? Just kidding. I get that question way too much. All right. Okay, for mine, let's see. I did a couple things. Face. She's got a heart because she loves things. Who doesn't? Um, Actually, I did a couple other sketches earlier before. Actually, more clown doll girls. This one's creepy.
Those are cool.
Thanks, man. I actually recorded these. I'll be doing a YouTube thing later for it.
Are you planning to do any more animals? Because you did this tiger once. Really incredible.
I don't know. Should I do animals? I don't.
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll do animals just for you. Yeah. Anyway, how do I turn this off? All right. Thanks for everyone who joined us, and tune in next time. Also expect some videos this weekend, or maybe later this week. And yeah, that's it. All right. Cool. Bye.